So PDP is like a religion.
Already had it, yes. So
like a religion in that place, and
happy hour or not, he would have still
yes, even without coming up with the idea of a happy hour, it would still have won. I'm very confident because the party will have worked for PDP's, I think, 204,000. The margin was about 54,000, I remember. So that should tell you the APC is coming up strong, you know,
gradually
coming up strong for many.
Doesn't matter if your candidate is progressive. It's not about you making sure that your own candidate comes.
Yes, most of them. Okay, let's look at Gombe. What is happening in Gombe now? The governor and his godfather had been at loggerheads. Before then, the former governor and this same godfather were also at loggerheads. Yeah. In fact, the Dankwambo, the former governor, did not visit his godfather since the day he was inaugurated as governor. So when the godfathers, that's Dajuma Goje, when his wife died, that was the day the governor now said, this same woman used to feed you here. You used to come here all the time. But the moment we inaugurated you,
didn't see you again.
You stopped coming. Governors want to be their own man.
Yeah.
They want to be in total control. And
or is it not about this legacy thing? So you don't want to continue what your predecessor, you want to start your own, and then so you stop. Unlike what we see in Lagos, where Governor Sanwo-Olu continued the Agege Pensinima Bridge and finished what Ambode started, because you know Lagos is a continue, and then you just see a governor coming in Akwa Ibom, whatever Akpabio must have done. Stop. Where is the hospital?
Right. Like, I want us to go back to this celebration. We don't want to analyze too much because we are still in a celebration mood. There's so much to talk about. There's time for analysis. But we just want to just see all the intricacies that happened within the elections last weekend. So let's go to...
You know, let me just chip in.
Yes.
Saying the happy hour thing will make sense if the governor can translate that to employment generation.
Revenue.
For example, he can go into tourism, you know, boost tourism. Those young people will also they will be happy. He can turn Akwa Ibom to something similar to what Donald Duke did with the carnival in Cross River.
Yes.
Something that will even outlast him. Yeah. You know,
he has been re-elected. You know, your state. Many people felt that there was a lot of competition between him and the APC. They thought it was a bit funny because many thought that he worked for Asiwaju's presidency candidacy, and they felt that everybody should collapse their structures to support him. But the APC man said, no way, I'm going this head on. What do you think happened in your state? Do you think that those are actually, there was serious fight between the APC and the PDP candidates in that state?
You see, people like to describe Seyi Makinde as a naive politician, somebody should not be in politics, because having been in corporate Nigeria for so long, he had his own ideas about how things should run. And some of those ideas really are antithetical to the political culture in our country. So people get frustrated by some of his methods. But when he decided to join the G5, the other governors,
rebellious governors,
he was the first to come out to say, I will not vote for you. He told Atiku in plain language, I will not vote for you. So by saying to him that he will not vote for him, he already made it clear that his support was for someone else. I mean, it's inconceivable to think that, for the presidential election, he will simply lock up and go and rest at home. He has to have a candidate of his own. And remember when Asiwaju visited the state, he said something. He said, in Oyo State, Asiwaju Newa. So people interpreted that to mean that, he wanted to support Asiwaju. There is no chance that they got. There ought to have been some form of a counter instruction to say, for this National Assembly elections,
Yes.
we'll do our own.
Yeah.
But the people just went out and
Does the
bandwagon
APC
effect.
so they continued to vote Asiwaju. Became a problem. When those guys lost, the threat of rebellion
Yes.
was rife. The governor had to move around to placate the people like Ilaka from Oyo town, who used to be the governor's chief of staff. He lost his bid for the Senate. So the governor had to go around. Out people like Dino Milaye, because already they were telling you are all failures because all of them lost the Senate.
Yes.
So the people were already imagining how it got so bad, and I'm like, well, this is a sitting governor. I mean, there should be respect.
Decorum.
They were abusing one another like children. So I knew that, look, so much bad blood
Already.
will naturally not permit
that step down.
yeah, so even the APC members who supported Makinde did it discreetly.
Yes.
It's just like someone told me that he was sure that Makinde would not have scored that quantum of votes in Ibadan if the king of Ibadan politics himself, Rashidi Adewolu Ladoja, had.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, make welcome the grand comedian of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Gbenga Adeyinka the First. OJ right here, 7 of 7, like you already know.
Benga right here, 7 of 7, like I'm beginning to know.
It's now time for the question.
You don't scare me one bit. Bata, I go drink. So,
So now one chance for enter. My first question. Do you remember the names of the winners of that edition of StarQuest?
of course I do. Okay. I said, God, please, let me to perform outside Nigeria.
Wait.
And God gave me a trip, a show in Ghana. Drink, my friend, drink. I know.
I don't overthink this thing. See where I can.
Yes, you overthink him.
I would say you should catwalk.
Let's catch walk. Where are we?
No, that's not catwalking.
That's good.
That's
That's
walking.
good talking.
It's not just where, but who wouldn't you want to work with?
Yes, that's on that angle.
So Laifa had a very, very interesting.
You wouldn't want to work with who?
Not
There's no
disrespect.
judgment.
No, and I
Oh, they'll
respect,
judge you
I
definitely,
respect
but we
this
won't judge
certain
you.
type of people. But what I dislike so much is when they tend to come to work and then they pour all their
Resentment from
on
home.
you. Is it me that offended you? I'm not the one. I have no business. Man, just come and work with you, pay me at the end of the month, and let me go back to my house in peace and sleep. But when it comes to like divorced people, I cannot work with a divorcee. I can't see myself doing that. If I find out, if you can hide it, but if I find out,
When they're nice divorcees.
I would just
What
be
if this
my
was
sugar daddy or sugar mommy. See, the way you treat others is the way they will treat you outside. And if you cannot treat your workers well, they are not a good boss. If you cannot be dashing me small thing or giving me donuts when I'm working, you are not a good person.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw earthen material slabbed, stroked and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move way in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known. For when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be.
Thanks for staying with us. We still have BKO in the building. Yes, so we're discussing Oyo State. You had a question. Go ahead.
Yes. So I wanted to know your perspective, because I realized that this particular election saw people who were in a different political party supporting candidates in another political party just because they believe in that candidate. Where do you think this takes us as Nigeria?
I think it's a healthy development. In fact, in a lot of the states where we thought the Labour Party would win, we found the Labour Party apparatchik in those states coming together to say, this is the candidate that we are supporting outside of their own party. It happened in Ebonyi. It happened in Enugu. You know, politics is local. It's just like, oh, we supported Obi in the presidential election. But in this election, we can't find who is good enough for us.
Alternative.
Therefore,
we're picking another
we think that, okay, the candidate of the PDP is better. So that's what they've done in Ebonyi. The Speaker of the House of Assembly is the APC candidate. And the Labour Party said, look, we are supporting this fellow. Even in Rivers, they did the same thing, although the party leadership now said no, that we do not agree with what has happened. We are going to dissolve the ESCO. And the ESCO in the state said, no, you cannot dissolve us. So incrementally, we are seeing this kind of alliances or endorsement from party candidates thought were even strong enough to win. Because if normally people would have expected that the way Labour Party swept the presidential election, that at least they should be able to produce a good number of governors, at least 11 governors.
That fear was there. Many people thought that this hurricane would be coming, would definitely. But so, as you said, that politics is local. So yes, there's one. We can all come together on one umbrella for the presidential.
Yes.
When it comes to governors at the local level, Nigeria seems to want to be able to choose individually.
People they trust, yes.
People they trust, who they work with.
Yes, that's the thing. You look at Cross River. Obi won the presidential election in Cross River. But in the governorship election, the Labour Party was nowhere to be seen. You know? And in some cases, their own candidates were just not good enough. You know? After Obi joined Labour Party, some people just went to meet him there. And they were just giving people tickets. You know, some of them were not good enough.
So does it mean that Labour still has work to do? The reason is because I thought, the thinking was that when Hurricane Obi came, many people now see the opportunity to revive the Labour Party within their states, thinking that by the time we get more governors from Labour Party, they can build on that towards 2027. But the way it's looking so far, do you feel that Labour still needs to go back again and still begin to recruit more people to get a proper structure within
I also
the
think that some of the governors in the states worked on the Labour Party structures, the Labour Party leadership in their states, offered money and all of that to ensure that, look, they were not affected by that Hurricane Obi. I know, for example, that in Enugu State, the people who always decide who becomes governor in Enugu State, the Unamanis of this world, they had been saying no, that it is Umba, it is Peter Umba that they wanted, and they got many people to support them. So I wasn't surprised when Labour Party said, well, this is the person that it could also be that some of these candidates in the states, people don't know them very well, because we've seen them simply endorsing and even stepping down for people that Obi could not have agreed to.
Yes.
So, but you have a candidate in a state, Labour Party, you don't even know him, you don't know what's his pedigree, see the kind of sort of person who will fold easily under pressure, and that's what we've seen. So, for me, I'm happy that even outside of Labour, there were other parties too that were saying, look, let's not waste our time, this is the best person for the job. We saw a lot of that happened, especially during this governorship election. Added to that was what I said earlier, that the kind of zeal, the determination that governors put into this thing because they into the governorship race. They want to win and they want to install their successor. So they didn't spare any effort. They worked out. If it meant talking to rival parties, they were prepared to do it. So
let's move to Ogun State, Mr. Otitoju. I want us, because we have little time left. Ogun State was quite close. I mean, it was like he just managed. I mean, 13,000 is a small figure.
Yes.
I mean, for a sitting governor to be almost overthrown by the PDP. How did that happen? I mean, people know Adebutu was obviously very, very popular. You know, people were even scared that Dakwa had lost.
Yes.
So
90,000 votes went to Dakwa.
Yes.
To even flogging the governor in his hometown. Both of them are from the same hometown, Iperu. So in the contest in that hometown of theirs, it was Adebutu that prevailed. And then beyond even Iperu, Shagam, Adebutu also prevailed. I think that generally, because Adebutu too had been in the race for some time, and you know, he's generous, his father is very rich, he had been working on the people in that area. It's like Ogun was his major catchment area. He concentrated on that place because naturally a governor like Dapo, who had done a lot of work in that area,
shouldn't have problem.
You should expect that he should have a kind of block votes coming from Ogun East, his own constituency. But even in Ikene, he lost. So I think that the fact that Adebutu had been working hard in that area was a factor. I also think that the anti-party activities of Ebikunle Amosun was a factor because he shouldn't have been permitted to go outside of his.
Oh, no, that road.
No, there's another factor that
he has started doing roads in that area. About a week to the election, we saw. No, even they even put.
He was lucky when he comes. You come and help us verify.
Asphalt lane.
I think what worked against that Babajide of Ogun was the lack of infrastructure, completing those connecting roads that Lagos State would have finished halfway, and the rest of the side of Ogun State was abandoned. But we are grateful that, you know, he got re-elected. So let's him come back and face governance properly. But we saw something happen. The Kwankwansias standing their ground in Kano, establishing that this is the source of Kwankwansia movement. The NNPP have now, you know, ousted APC in Kano. How did this even happen? Let's just see a bit of history.
We saw videos of them escorting the electoral.
Maybe
they were escorting them to the polling units. I was like,
they followed it.
What? The pictures.
They did not lock an estate and lock officially. They escorted them all the way by foot to
the polling collation center. Wow. You see the pictures? The crowd. Like they were following the cars. This thing was not changed.
With leg.
No, you see, the Kwankwasia movement is a tremendous movement in Kano. On training abroad. No, some of them graduated as aeronautic engineers. These were students, young people. That's why you see young people going after him, because they believe, look, this man is our future. We can do anything for him. He sent them, depending on your area, your field, your area of competence. He sent them to different countries abroad. Now, I can say without equivocation that Kwankwaso is even more popular now than 2019.
Yes, absolutely.
Because in 2019, he could not win in the hinterland. He dominated the balloting in the city center, I mean in the metropolis. Yes. But the governor, Ganduje, won in the hinterland. In fact, the governor defeated him in his local government. I
see a protest against the party in power. Kwankwaso has always had a movement. I have a security that travels to Kano to vote. He's a Kwankwaso. He doesn't joke about it. So what changed now? Is it that the people are falling out with the governor?
You see, don't also forget that even this cash crunch turned people. A lot of the people decided to not vote for APC.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
They have every reason to not vote for APC.
Yes.
Where a government will allow this kind of policy so close to the election, that a policy that inflicts so much pain on our people, you put your money in the bank, your money gets confiscated by Mefele, and then when you need money, they decide
how much you should get.
Somebody in our office at Theophilus, one of our reporters, was paid 1,000 naira across the counter. What disgrace can be better than that? What further evidence do you need that this is a shambolic policy, at least shambolic in its implementation? So many of the people who are tired of the way they've been treated by the government in power will also go towards the Kwankwasia group. There are many people like that who made up their minds.
I mean, what I love most about this 2023 election is that there's so many learning curves, so many lessons. You can have a whole course on 2023 elections in Nigeria.
Let me tell people will say all sorts of things about this election. Oh, it's the most, it's the worst election in our history. Absolute rubbish. This election, we've never had an election since 1999.
Yes.
That allowed the people to express their desires like this last one.
Yes.
APC lost 12 states in the presidential election alone. 20 states, 20 governors lost their states in the presidential election. We've never had an election like that. 7 governors. In Adamawa State, for example, somebody had been congratulated only for them to change the result. I think that was in 2003. They changed the results.
Yes.
He had been congratulated, though. There was even a form that was already filled a day before the election, indicating that a party had won in an election that had not been conducted. It was that bad then. It was that bad then. So for
it can still be better.
Beavers has, Beavers has made it extremely difficult to rig an election. And I want INEC to continue this idea of uploading the result on the public viewing portal, because you can now cross-check whether what was uploaded matches
and it was not an imputed figure. It's a JPEG. So it's a picture. Once I see somebody impute on polling and write 2 here and now write 4, there's no imputing. It's a picture. So if your picture doesn't match, then there's a problem.
What do you do in that case?
That's what
you at any electoral tribunal you stand a chance.
Because everybody will have his copy. The police will have a copy.
It's true.
That's why we have this problem in Adamawa, for example. Because people are saying, no, at the level of the polling, even the local government, the result had been known. So it's difficult
for them to change.
For somebody to call from.
I have to go on a break.
Maybe I saw rock and say, change that result. It's difficult.
Everybody has seen it. Let me go on a break because there's the elephant in the room. We've not discussed it. That's Lagos State. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate.
It's not just where, but who wouldn't you want to work with?
Yes, that's on that angle.
So Laifa had a very, very interesting...
You wouldn't want to work with who?
There's no judgment.
No, and I respect,
they'll judge you definitely,
respect
but we
this
won't judge
certain
you.
type of people. But what I dislike so much is when they tend to come to work and then they pour all their
resentment from
on you. Is it me that offended you? I'm not the one. I have no business. Mom just come and with you, pay me at the end of the month, and let me go back to my house in peace and sleep. But when it comes to like divorced people, I cannot work with a divorcee. I can't see myself doing that. If I find out, if you can hide it, but if I find out, okay, take 15. It does, you don't have.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're still discussing the elections on Saturday, and we're moving on to Lagos. Lagos was everybody, all eyes pretty much on Lagos. Somehow described it as almost like a landslide result because it was 762 plus. And so that's what you call a landslide. And people were really worried about the hurricane Obi again. They felt that the Obi hurricane was going to consume the votes in Lagos. What do you think happened, Liz? Especially because there were pockets of disruptions, intimidation across board. And many also said that people put focus as if it was only Lagos that there were disruption, intimidation, but intimidation was across the nation. Yes. However, all social media kept saying, oh, Lagos, Lagos, Lagos. What are your own thoughts on what happened in Lagos on Saturday?
First and foremost, violence occurred in many parts of our country.
Yes.
The violence that happened in some states, even in the north, was greater than what we had in Lagos. Yes. But they always focus on Lagos. It's Lagos that they are talking about. I saw a video shot in the southeast where the woman was saying, they started shooting us, so they don't want us to vote. The video went viral, and it was in the southeast. Look at what happened in Ebonyi. They attacked the polling station, seized beavers machines, and set the beavers machines as well as other ballot materials ablaze. Ivy Kano, our reporter, even covered it. You see the ballot materials being burnt in Ebonyi. But people will hardly talk about it. It's Lagos that they are talking about, you know. the Lagos, as much as Lagos has been good to many of its inhabitants, many people here are ungrateful to the city of Lagos. All they want to talk about Lagos is negativity all the time. Give the impression that this is the worst place to live in. But that's where they are making their living. And a good number of them are comfortable. But all they can do is just badmouth the city of Lagos. So I'm not surprised that on social media especially, it is Lagos and Rivers that they are talking about. Of course, that is deliberate. When you see people focusing on just two states, look at Kebbi, for example. They are going to have what is it called? A supplementary election, because a lot of elections were cancelled in many polling units. So the level of carnage there in Kebbi, we didn't see here in Lagos. But how come they are not talking about it? So the focus is usually Lagos, 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 Lagos. No one is saying that it makes sense to go and stop people from voting. It's irresponsible, it's barbaric to stop people from voting. But do not give the feeling that it is only here that is happening. Even in Cross Rivers, the people were attacked. These facts are there. But to give the impression that it's only two states, Rivers and Lagos. And I said something recently. I said, okay, even if you took away the entire Southwest votes and the entire Rivers votes, Asiwaju will still win the election because he will still score over 7 million votes. Yes. And neither Atiku nor Obi got up to 7 million votes. So take away the entire Southwest votes. So this is somebody has won the election. Where there's so much bad blood, so much effort to throw the election as the worst.
Go ahead. Okay, so I'm going to say this in pidgin. They say person where they look, no they look. So if you're a masquerade and you're performing and you're dancing and all eyes are on you, you wouldn't stop to start looking at your audience. You will be performing. Now we know that in Lagos State, there are always eyes. This is like the economic stronghold of the country. as a whole, and people would always look, people would always pay attention, especially to what happens in Lagos, because it's the center of excellence. Lagos is a pace setter in so many things, and it should also be a pace setter in the elections, and that's why people will look and talk about Lagos. But what I saw, was the violence that we talked about, which was largely spread all across social media. And in your view, for me personally, I expected the the governorship aspirants, governor-elects, whether incumbents or otherwise, to have spoken up. Maybe that would have calmed the people who felt they could take laws into their own hands. But it now seemed like everybody just kept mum and we're focusing on just waiting for the results. What do you think about the governor not saying something about the violence?
The violence that took place during the elections?
During the elections.
I can't speak for him. For me, I condemn violence wherever it happens. I think that there was so much bad blood going into the Lagos election.
Too much.
People were angry. And people
on both sides, because of all the rubbish about Lagos being no man's land and all that. And look, for a lot of people, they didn't even need extra motivation to come out and vote.
Yes.
Those who were angry, who did not come out to vote during the presidential election, they came out. Even people within the APC who were unhappy with their party and the way they've been treated, they came out because of that feeling that, they are saying Lagos is no man's land. Is this how we'll be watching? They came out. In Magodo here, they didn't beat anybody up. Those old men came out and were saying, we are voting. They voted. Nobody beat anybody up. And they voted, and the pattern of voting and the nature of the result was different to the last one. You see, APC made a mistake in the first election. The mobilization was not enough. Even agents were not paid. In some polling units, APC did not have agents in the last election. I'm saying that. And we said, look, you didn't mobilize for this election. Asiwaju came into town, called a meeting, changed the people who were supposed to be custodians of the money. He changed them, got some other people involved,
to handle it.
Those who had been doing this with him for years. Yes. And the money, in fact, as early as Thursday, some of the agents have received their money. Right. You think it won't reflect on the way they will work, the way they will mobilize? So the pattern changed. Look at Alimosho, look at the kind of voice coming from Alimosho. Yes. People, it wasn't as if those people were not there before. But the party behaved like the people did not matter. So now, after losing the election, they reached out to them in a solo. They reached out to Shame, master mobilizer of people, reached out to him. He had been angry, reached out, and they decided to work together. That's what we have seen.
Let me get a few more questions.
So, and when you say Sanwo-Olu scored, if you add the votes scored by the second and the
372,000.
And then you multiply it by 2. Sanwo-Olu still scored higher than them. That's the definition of a landslide. You know?
So I wanted to talk about, because Sanwo-Olu would have won this election whether or not
intimidation
probably did not happen in Amo-Odofi, because how many votes are these areas where we're talking about?
Yes.
The Labour Party candidate could not win his own polling unit where he is resident.
And nobody beat anybody.
And there was no fighting there. So the narrative that the whole of Lagos is under fire, that's not the narrative.
Social media, people tend to mislead. They are out to mislead.
I couldn't vote because early morning, Onireke, there were already gunshots. You will see the town boys coming out to say, you people want to take our land. This narrative. They were threatening. By afternoon, my polling unit, everybody hold their head. We ran back in, and there was no voting.
So
the issue has not resolved till now. My neighbors are now rushing to take their cars out of the street. People are guarding their houses. Nobody is sleeping anymore at night. Where are we going exactly? Which is why I wanted to add to it what BC have said. The elections are over. We already know what the results have read. When will the governor address, angry nerves?
True.
We need to calm things down.
I think he said, even in his acceptance speech, he said that let's come together.
And work together.
But I would also want violence in Lagos. He said all of
So I would also want a particular direct address to the people in Abule Osun, Irede community, Onireke, all the way into Ojo, where this was high. Husbands and wives are fighting right now that are married intra-tribal marriages. Yeah. People
that's why these tribal narratives are dangerous.
Dangerous. Yes.
For me, when I was a young man growing up in Kano, I had girlfriends who were Igbo. And in fact, I could say if I had not been transferred to Lagos, maybe I would have married an Igbo woman. You know? So people have intermarried, and then we are spreading hate among ourselves. Yes. It makes no sense.
At all.
It makes no sense. Election, I've said it before, it's just that people don't listen. There's no reason to endanger your own life because of a politician. The Nigerian politicians are not that responsible for you to want to stake your life on them.
Please say it again, sir. Say it again, let them hear.
You are blocking yourselves on social media because of a politician. Are you fighting your wife? You're fighting your wife?
Since you have even mentioned it, let's talk about the thuggery. Because just this morning, somebody is cursing and asking tankers parked in Ijegu to follow my car and kill my family.
Jesus.
So if I have a choice, I am a journalist, I wouldn't have posted my choice. But the threats were just up to here. And by nature, as another girl, I will post it. Okay, so what do you want to do? So now you come on our pages, you're threatening. It is a choice. You made your choice. Can I make my own?
People don't want other people to.
And you say that is not ugly. And we are only addressing election day violence.
It's cyber ugly. Those abusing people, those who do not think that you have a right to make your choice. Like when Morayo said, okay, this is the person that I want to support. They make it look like it's unreal. What? Even in the US, we saw even broadcasters publicly say, okay, we are against Trump. And the CNN fought him from day one. They never left him alone. You know, so, and even newspapers, tabloids in the US, the editorial, they will say, we have endorsed this
person.
And they expect the people who read them to do the same. So it's not even strange for journalists to have preferences, political preferences, but to make it look like you are an animal.
It's not allowed here.
Come and say, oh, Jide, we thought you were a man of
let's talk about Governor Sanwo-Olu's speech, because I mean it's important for us to reiterate some of the important things he said. He did say that if you truly love Lagos, he's willing to open his door for those of you that were in the contest with him, even in his government. What is implying? Because that hopefully should douse the tension. I say, I am opening my doors. We all love Lagos. Everything that was done is because we all want this state to work.
Some people are difficult to placate. The APC primaries that we had, presidential primaries, there are still people who have not forgiven Asiwaju for winning. Despite the fact that I even went to see them one after another. Some people are difficult to placate, but the job of the government is to calm the tension down. The tension in Lagos is not what we're happy to see. The energy of Lagos, you cannot say that energy is concentrated on a particular ethnic group. Everyone has jumped in to make Lagos the place, I mean, the beautiful place that it is. And we don't need to hate one another. People are behaving, these people, especially our young people, they never play politics in their life. They don't even understand politics. Why are you abusing people for their choices?
When you were talking about this, I have some young people that work with me. And I was saying them straight that growing up, my father was exiled by the military junta. I didn't see my father because he was in exile, because of the military. I suffered as a child also, where you know that your father was being chased and you're getting crank calls. These are things people go through, but you have no idea. You just assume somebody just woke up tomorrow and say, I want to be president. It's because they've seen the journey. They've been there from the beginning all the way. They understand what is going on. And now they're saying they want to be president. So why is such a big deal? So, I mean, people are different, as we said, and it's important for us to respect people's choices. However, as we are reconciling this state, especially, whether we like it or not, Lagos is a melting pot. We are all here, and we all contribute. Is that it will contribute to the development of the economy of this state. And it's the truth. How do you think the governor can begin to reconcile? Because if you don't fix it from that top, it will trickle down to schools, to offices, to marriages already, to relationships. People are already being fearful of.
There will be When you are convinced Obi is not the best, then you don't have integrity, you are an animal.
Yeah,
there's no name that they won't call you.
Thief.
They abuse you, abuse and curse your children. This is what we are seeing. I don't think any speech by someone will make such people to change, because it's difficult to explain this course of action. What kind of reasoning is this that will make a man turn against his wife because of political choices? Even in the we are just not mature politically.
Can we even
in the US, you see the wife is a Democrat, the husband is a Republican.
Yes.
But they will be joking, they will be exchanging
Can we
factors.
even use the narrative in Lagos, for instance? I have been in the dominated PDP areas. I have lived there since I got married. And I have never seen the APC do anything there that will be recognized. We were falling in the craters on Badagry Expressway before this governor became governor. And one visit to that area, there was, and in fact, the entire intention of Lagos was on that area. But today, they will tell you, so he not do anything. At the polling unit, you will see the conversation, like, hate a man, but give him his credit.
No, they will not.
So what exactly will he say to people like that?
And when some of us give somebody credit, they say we don't have integrity. Oh, we used to think you had integrity. Oh, it's not in your place to give any form of
Emefiele has integrity when
they were standing by Emefiele, standing by an incompetency
and
you thought
rice now from the farm. This is the season when we should be enjoying cheaper rice. We are still paying higher than we paid because the farmers have lost.
Let me ask you this question. Go ahead, Bisi, let me let you jump in.
So, you know, I used to feel that we can speak English however we like, but we are not the ones on the streets that we push for this. You know, we saw this play out where some thugs and, you know, people you call hoodlums took over and said, this is what will happen in this polling station. Yes. You know, driving people, flogging. There were videos of them flogging people out of the polling station. Yes. How do you think we can begin to communicate to those people? Because they... No, not the thugs. I'm talking about Lagos State now.
Local lords instruct.
It
seems like they are there.
They are there, they are present, we cannot ignore them, because even if we understand that it's okay for you to like this party.
Question to ask you, did they do that in 2019?
Yes.
They were flogging people saying that too much.
No, they didn't.
There's always been thugging, but not flogging.
Not flogging.
That's why I said, look, the nasty rhetorics that enveloped the political space in the days leading to this election led to this violence. I mean, we saw election here in 2019.
Yes.
It didn't go like this.
This way.
That people will say you must, if you can't, not ready to go for it, don't come here.
Didn't do that.
It didn't happen.
So they felt that they've been somebody called on Loju kind of thing.
Yes.
That was a reaction.
Said, that's why I gave the example of Magodo here. APC lost in Kosovo here in the last election. Yeah. But this time around, they came out, even the old men.
In my polling unit, a woman, very old woman, two people were holding her hands. She made sure she came out to vote. We didn't see her the last.
So that she will not go out that the land is no longer Yoruba land. When she cross over,
they will take your
land.
So was the narrative.
Traditional rulers, not the humiliation. So they didn't want that.
You remove our traditional. You remove the custodian of our culture. In my polling unit, for instance, the gist. I was saying to someone, it's secret ballot for a reason, so that you are protected. Yes, I'm Amur. You know, I vote in Ojo. Okay. I live in Amur. So the narrative is secret. I mean, sorry, the ballot is secret to protect you. So vote. If you want to watch it, stand and watch it. But the conversations at the polling unit are so provocative. I saw some of the indigents, the way they were cowering into their corners during the presidential elections. I was like, thank God, though, it was safe. But the fear I had played out during the governorship.
Yeah.
So they were voting. People had chairs. People were drinking. They were conversing in different languages. And I just saw all of a sudden things just changed. The people are now saying, we ask you people not to come out to vote. We cannot lose our land. They have already sold. And so this narrative of the disrespect of the hosts
I've seen
is so blatant in the faces.
Once you shoot a video and it goes round, people can make their opinion, come with their opinions on that video. there were some videos meant to provoke people.
Talking about provocation, so I have to pause you for that, sir, because I have very little time. Yes, the narrative was there, but there were some provocative tweets, provocative statements that have been made by people that should know better.
Yes.
Yes, things are already tense. But certain people, even within various parties, started saying things. Leaders who should be more educated and exposed, they were hitting things up. So who can caution them?
That's the nature of the Nigerian politician.
Okay.
The Nigerian politician wants to win. All this talk, I will talk to thugs. The politician finds the talk useful during elections. Some after elections they are abandoned. Yes, now that's how did militancy start in the South? These were political talks. How did Boko Haram start? Boko Haram men were people that politicians used as thugs. They used to call them Ekoma boys. They used them as thugs before. Then you abandon them with their weapons in their hand, weapons that you bought for them. Of course, they will turn to criminality. So the politician wants to win by every means possible. That's why some of them will stay their talks to go and beat up people, stop them from getting to that place. I've been talking about this for over a week. I said, with beavers in place, if they mobilized the way they mobilized this time, they don't have the numbers. And I refer anyone listening to me or even you to the prediction I made about 3 days before the election. I said, this election, the pattern of voting will change. I said it emphatically because I was sure. They simply failed to come out because a lot of them were angry and they were not mobilized. But the moment Asiwaju came into town, he said, you, deputy governor, you and this person, take over. The deputy governor...
There was no way that anybody else could have won.
No, even if you don't... that's why I gave did they beat people in Magodo here?
Did they beat in Alimosho?
They didn't have to beat people.
People counted their votes. Elections
they didn't have to beat people.
We have just a few.
They didn't have to beat people. They don't have to beat people to win. Yes, it could now maybe they will win some assembly seats, but
not the
cannot
governorship.
win the election.
Congratulations to all the other winners, and we hope that in the next few days, everything will be restored. Cash will be restored, normalcy will be restored, and our sanity. People will be calmer, and we can move on to other things. And friendship will be restored. That's all we can take on today's show. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.